Hey guys, and welcome to a new video, and today we're going to be doing episode 9 of my Master of PVM series. And you guys know the drill. This is the series where I'm going for all of the boss pets, as well as every rare drop from bosses that matter. Anyway though, as for the episode, first up we're going to talk about some Helwyr. Now just a little while ago I made a video of 500 Helwyr kills, and for this episode I did around 160 kills, because in the previous one I ended up at 340. But as for any rare drops during those kills, there really weren't any to speak of, but I was super happy about getting a dormant body drop and a dormant leg drop. And normally I would not be happy about that because they're honestly a troll drop. They're very worthless, they're only like 100k or something. To give you some perspective, they don't even beam for me, and my beam is set at 300k. So all around pretty bad, but I was happy nonetheless because that means I am only missing the pet, of course, and the wand drop. So we're nearing the end of Helwyr. I just need to hopefully get those items. They're both really, really rare. Who knows if I'm going to get them, but I can only hope. And I'm planning on doing a 1,000 loot video of Helwyr eventually, if it takes me that long. So there's another line of motivation there. But even though I said there wasn't really many rare drops to speak of, I did get 4 essence drops, which I might as well mention because that means I'm at 11 now, which is just insane. Compared to other bosses, I'm just super lucky with the Saren essences for some odd reason. When I was getting these, they were well over a mil, but now they're only like 300k. So it is kind of sad considering I have 11 of them, but that does add up after a while. And speaking of essences, like what the hell is going on with the Sliskian ones? I currently have one in the bank and they're 3 mil each. It really makes me want to do some Gregorovich, because honestly essences aren't super rare or anything, and I could definitely make a lot of bank with that. But moving on to another God Wars 2 boss, and this is Vindicta. So in the past couple months, I've been doing Vindicta on and off just to get some reputation done for Gregorovich. Every time I had a bounty to kill Vindicta, I obviously would do it. And the reason why I started camping Vindicta is because through the Helwyr kills that I just talked about, I finished the reputation for the Zeros faction. That means I do have a much better chance at getting rare drops, minus the pet, unfortunately. But now I can do Vindicta guilt-free, knowing that I have the best chance possible, assuming that the drop increase is real, because there has been a few people on Reddit, actually more than a few, that don't believe that the drop increase actually helps. Some people believe it actually makes it worse. I don't have enough kills to even have an opinion on that, but I have noticed that before my max reputation, I got good drops, and after, I have not. So, who knows, but I have such a small sample, so it's not very set in stone. Anyway though, I decided to camp some Vindicta, and I was going to use the seals that I get on Gregorovich for that faction's reputation. That way I can go camp Gregorovich also guilt-free. So spoiler alert, I did finish the Gregorovich reputation. Now I have 3 of the 4 factions completed. The Zamorak faction is only at like 150 points. Definitely not anywhere close, but if I camp Vindicta and Gregorovich to 500 kills, I should be very, very close to finishing twins, especially if I do some bounties. But yeah, during this video I did around 200 Vindicta kills, and again like Helwyr, nothing extremely cool happened, but I just keep on hoping to get that Crest of Zeros or the second pet, because if you forgot, I did get the Vindicta pet at kill like 103 or something, and I also got the Lance at like 98. And hopefully I get those things when I finish up the 500 kills of this boss. And then for the final boss we're going to talk about, this is Dagannoth Kings. I know, I just made a video on them earlier in the week, but just wait, something pretty awesome happened, and I'm sure a lot of you have guessed it from the last video. Alright, so for a bit of context, I was nearing the end of my 1k loot video. I'm sure it was around 700 to 800 kills, so only a couple trips left, and lo and behold I was greeted with a Dagannoth Claw drop. If you didn't know, that is the Dagannoth Rex pet, so that's awesome. We've just knocked out one of the 3 Dagannoth pets fairly early on, in my opinion. And just so you know, this was around 1550 kill count on counter. And fun fact, the threshold for DKs is 1500, so I got it like just after getting the first threshold. And again, if you don't know what thresholds are, basically once you get a certain amount of kills called a threshold, you get a better chance at getting the boss pet drop at that specific boss. And thresholds are different for every single boss, and you can find those numbers all on the boss pets page on the Runescape Wikia. But yeah, now that I'm past the first threshold, that does mean I have double the base drop chance of getting the other 2 pets. So hopefully the other 2 don't take so long. I'd be happy with around 3,500 kills, and I know a lot of people go there, and it takes like 6,000, so I'm trying to be optimistic, but I don't want to disappoint myself. Anyway, though, that's all I wanted to talk about today. I know there wasn't a ton of like rare loot or anything, but I honestly just didn't get anything. It was a lot of PVMing, honestly. There was like 160 Helwyr, 200 Vindicta, and well over 1,000 Dagannoth Kings. So I'm happy with what happened. We got a new pet, and I got some serious progress done on Vindicta, as well as Helwyr. But with all that said, let's jump right into the slides and see the actual progress we're making. Alright, here you go with the Helwyr stats. And as I mentioned earlier, we are missing that wand, of course, and the pet. Oh man. But just look at the fucking essences. So many. It's really a shame that they're not as much as they used to be, but maybe they'll go up eventually. I highly doubt it, but who knows. The market is so volatile half the time. And then, of course, we talked about some Vindicta, and we are at around 350 kills, so not too far away from the 500 kill mark that I want to get to for a video. We are missing the dormant legs. But I forgot to mention, I was kind of thinking, because it's kind of weird that every single God Wars 2 boss drops the dormant items, I was thinking it might not be a bad idea to make it so they're not required to finish the boss, because imagine if I finish everything for Vindicta or something and then just never get the legs. That'd be quite miserable. And I already got the legs from another boss, so I did technically get that unique drop, but we can discuss that later on when it actually becomes an issue. But for now, I do want to get the dormant set from every single God Wars 2 boss. But enough of that. As for the DKs, we are at 10 Dragon Hatchets, which is pretty sick, honestly. I don't know if that drop rate is accurate or not. I'm not familiar with the drop rates of DKs, or even if they've been released or not. But we are doing pretty well, overall, I'd say. I did change this slide a bit, if you remember the episode when I first talked about DKs, because obviously they did the whole graphical change and all that fun stuff, so I wanted to make it fresh again. And speaking of DKs, before we go into the next slide, I do want to mention that I did sell all of the items from the previous tab of DKs that were not the same. That was absolutely horrible phrasing. In other words, what I mean is, the drops that they changed, obviously I will not get them anymore, right? So I decided that I'm just going to sell the items that you can no longer get from the Dagannoth Kings, and then just turn it into straight cash, and that way the drops that I show you will be more reflective of what you could expect with the current drop rates. Towards the end of the series, you guys will see the drop tabs and all that fun stuff when I completely finish, but I want to do this for consistency's sake. I did sell everything that doesn't really carry over, and it got me around 6 mil, so not too bad. But yeah, I just will now have a 6 mil cash stack in my DKs tab. And back to the slides. So here are the pets that I need to get, and I made it so you can notice which ones I haven't gotten a little bit better, because even for me it was kind of hard to tell. Granted, I don't really have the best eyesight, but I digress. Anyway, though, we did add the Rex pet, of course, and the reason why I'm still using the older models on this page is because, if you didn't know, the pet is still the older model. I'm not sure if they're going to make it so you're going to be able to toggle it later on, or they're going to completely change it to the new model eventually, or maybe they're never planning on changing it. Who knows? To be honest, for 9 episodes and well over a year and a half of this series, I want to get more pets than this. This isn't as much as I want this far down the line. I'm feeling like I should go camp some more DKs and maybe go for the easier pets like the mole, the chaos elemental, and that kind of stuff. I mean, granted, they're probably not easy per se, but they're relatively easy monsters, if that makes any sense. I probably should just go and camp for some pets to make this page a little bit better. But anyway, as for the second page, this hasn't changed at all, so we don't have to stay here that long. But as I mentioned, I am missing that pesky second Vindicta pet, but I am so early into the kills, and I've already been lucky with him. I'm not going to worry about it for now. And holy shit, we're still going. So many slides in this series. But anyway, we did add 26 hours to this series, so even though nothing really happened other than the pet, I did put in a ton of time during this episode. But other than that, nothing really changed in here, so let's move on and show you how much I made during the episode. Now, I usually show you guys the tab and how it's looking every episode, but honestly, it has not changed all that much, and I don't want to waste your guys' time. So instead, let's just get down to business, crunch some numbers, and not waste experience while I fire make. As for the Helwyr kills I did, I made a nice 26 mil, and Vindicta wasn't too far behind. I made 29 million, and then the Dagannoth Kings was slightly better with 33 million, which everything added up is a solid 88 mil. Now, it's not as much as I usually get during these episodes, but still almost 100 mil. definitely fine with that. And holy shit, my friend just got a dormant Saren Godbow drop. Isn't that like super expensive? Anyway though, in the last episode we ended up with 2,226 mil, and if you add this episode's gains, we are now at a little bit over 2.3 billion GP. So yeah, I think that does it for this episode. Hopefully in the next one I actually do some more profitable bosses, or at least do some of the bosses to grind for the pet pretty quickly. I have done a bit of mole, but I didn't think it was enough to talk about, so maybe Jagex will love me and give me the pet soon, but we'll have to see. I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good day.